Hey everybody, this is Dark Side Elite here, and I promised to get this video out to you. This is gonna be pretty long because I wanted it. I want to do about the season finale of Titans season 2, episode 13, called Nightwing, and what did I like and what I disliked about it, and what I potentially think about what they're gonna be doing for season 3. Um, Hopefully by Monday or Tuesday, I think Tuesday, I will have a let me see, by the by the third. So I'm gonna be off on the third and the fourth. So one of those days, I'm gonna do a whole season wrap up of season 2, what I liked and what I didn't like. Now, and it probably also a reference to this episode too. Okay, let's get into it. All right. Did I really like this season finale? I'm pretty much a little. I like it, but I'm still kind of firm in the middle. I think they did a really good job with it. I think they gave a really good level of production. I think they gave a lot of more arcing stories for a lot of them, and they took a couple of them out of a pigeonhole and gave them a little bit more. Case in point, Gar. He's been very cartoon-esque in season 1. He was that atypical kid that just got thrusted into becoming a superhero, and his character is pretty young in a way. He's kind of an innocent young person mindset it, more young than even Rachel, which is kind of funny. But but his character has been pigeonholed in that situation because that's Gar. That's Garfield Logan. He's always been a happy-go-lucky kid because he has all these powers, and now he's around all these legendary heroes, and he wants to excel to become an even a bigger hero than what he is now. And they kind of took him out of that hole and turned him into he has a very dark storyline right now with what happened with him with Cadmus, and it came to a head in here into this episode where all of the mental training, I mean, sorry, all the mental tinker they've been doing with his head has been getting him prepared to becoming basically the villain of their narrative, and use Gar to propel Superboy Connor into becoming this world military force and sell to the highest bidder. That's pretty much what that's pretty much what Mercy's trying to do. She's trying to salvage their program and sell Connor out there and have all these superpower, all these half Kryptonians out there that, in all retrospect, are all controlled by Lex Luthor. Now we have not met Lex Luthor in this episode. I really do want to keep him more silent and in the background. I don't want them to advance Lex Luthor even further because then you're going to have to introduce Superman and then you have to do all this other stuff. If you link him into their story, that might work, but it really depends. That's Connor. That's Gar and that's Connor. Their storyline from when they did Connor all the way to now, I love Connor. I think they did a really good job with Connor. I do have a rant and rave about what why they did this and the ramifications of it because um, it might it might tick some people off. I don't care, but I want you all to understand there's a reasoning why. There's a major reasoning why. Okay, so it's not because I hate it. It's more in the fact of there's just something that they're doing kind of wrong, and they're just doing this just to propel, get more people to want to watch the series, which is not bad. But they're taking certain things out of context that makes absolutely no sense to the character. Okay, so what do I think of Raven? I'm glad what they did in the season finale. They wrote her out of the season. They wrote her completely out of the season. They might write her back in later in the season 3. Great. They need to go back to the drawing board with her character. We have yet to see her training. We have yet to see, and I don't mean her physical training. We've seen that. We've seen her fight against Gar and Jason and and some of the other Titans to get her able to use her powers and learn self control. It's understandable. But it's not that. Her powers are more mental. Her powers are more about her emotions. You can't teach her how to use aggression the way Richard uses it, or how Jason or Starfire or Donna or Hawk and Dove or even Ravager. You can't do that with Raven. Raven is different. Raven has to be shown mental training. She has to be shown how to use her powers to keep her emotions in check. That is how she's going to get stronger. Okay, because we're seeing her in this point of view. She's lashing out her anger and frustration, and it's coming out in a subconscious way. You can't do that through martial art discipline. You can't do that through that martial discipline. You have to do it through um, more meditation, more mental training, and someone that could teach magic. Learning magic is one of the greatest ways how to train, how to use your willpower and such like that. There's a difference, and I think that that's where they kind of faulted with Raven's character in this season. Her writing is still, in my personal opinion, pretty piss poor. They are hitting it home, and they are doubling down on it. And if they're going to do it, then start evolving her character. Don't evolve her character by just showing that she's getting better and more wiser. You have to show that she's getting more powerful with her powers, and she's becoming more worldly. That's where her intellect's going to start to fly off the charts, because she has a power of empathy to read other people's minds and emotions. She can understand the physical reality around her and the other side of the reality. So she's one of the most powerful characters in all of Titans, and they are kind of limiting her character down mainly because the character is only 16, 17 years old. No, 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 no. You don't have to limit the character down. You give her a great teacher, and her teacher is teaching her and teaching her and teaching her, and she's learning a lot about the metaphysical reality, and she's learning a lot of things that's going to make her become a much more powerful person later down the road, and also open her up more to more of things also around her consciousness and her self-consciousness. Because again, you can't teach how to control your self-conscious in martial arts training. You can't do that, because subconscious means that you react without thinking. And also, that's not part of magic. You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to keep everything in control. Magic's supposed to teach you self-discipline, to teach you how to control your consciousness and your subconscious, because magic works her powers work on a subconscious level. And that's just more of the psychology of it. And I'm not trying to make it where it's way too much for the casual audience to understand. And I'm not trying to make it where they are screwing over the character just to tell a story. What I'm saying is that there's a lot of depth to Raven's character and how you can do Raven that will make her character a lot better, and not pigeonhole her character down into a situation where we just have to accept that she's 16 years old. No, no, no. That's the wrong way we should think. We should think of her as, this character is a half demon. Her father is an extremely powerful demon. And 3, her powers can even dwarf Starfire. And Starfire, out of all the other Titans here, she's the most powerful one there. That's why they did what they did in this season, because she is extremely powerful. She has the power of a sun in her body. She can exhume a supernova on a whim. It won't mess with her. She won't do nothing. It won't do nothing to her. So I don't think that having keeping Starfire where she's at is going to ruin her character. I think that they depowered her to give her character more depth, and also have her reassemble herself in a much better way. And that worked, and that can work a lot better down the road. Now that's Starfire, and that's also Raven. Jason Todd. I think the kid is doing a really good job with Jason Todd. I think that it was a great idea to. I didn't like the fact that he flipped out on Rose and became a sopping mess of a person. If you really want to get down Jason Todd, yes, he could be arrogant. Yes, he could be obscene. He could be obtuse. He could be very, very deflecting. Like, he doesn't want to talk about himself. That's the core of his character. He's like Bruce. He's very solemn, and he broods. That's Jason Todd. The way I would have wrote him was, the moment Rose told him everything about it, he should have stared at her like, I'm going to kill you. That should have been his whole demeanor, his whole look at her. And she's sitting there like, and a piece of her starts to get afraid, because she has and this is where you get the really good body language and facial language of the actor and the character, that he has this look on her like he trusted her. He opened himself up to somebody more than even he did to Bruce, more than anybody else, and she was using him. No, she was using this whole situation. He can't tell if what she's saying is true or false, and he should never have flipped out. In my perspective, he should never have flipped out. He should have just looked at her, blinked a couple of times, and just backed up and just kept staring at her. And he just looked at her like, he has the look of, I'm going to kill you. And you have the actress who's kind of like getting a little defensive, but she's afraid because in true retrospect, Rose does not know what Jason knows. That's the way it is. They never truly trained together. They never had. They probably did a couple of sword fighting things, but they never went at it like in a death match. And I would say that she would probably give him a run for his money, but he's a very dirty fighter. He's very, very dirty. She can be dirty, but she cares about him and she can hold back. Jason can have that whole thing of you're an enemy, you're in my way. And that's why I felt that his character should have went further and further down. Turning him into a soppy mess, you could self-reflect that back into this is where he becomes cold and detached and becomes the Red Hood. But you should have shown right there that this is the Red Hood. This is the start of Jason Todd becoming the Red Hood, because now he doesn't know if he can trust anybody. He can't trust Bruce. He can't trust Richard. He can't trust the Titans. He definitely can't trust Rose. He can't trust anybody. He might be able to trust Alfred, but he can't really go to him. And that's where you start to have him start to self-spiral into becoming the Red Hood, and eventually where he's going to get killed and he becomes the Red Hood. That's where I felt that they should have did that scene. You should have shown him cold, detached, and he doesn't talk. The last minute of that scene should have been he should have just backed up and left. She should say, hey, whoa, where are you going? Where are you going? What about the Titans? He just opens the door, doesn't say a word, closes the door nicely, and just starts walking. He's done. He is done. And then at the very end of the scene, at the very end of the episode, where and I'll get to this in a little bit, but where you see Richard looking at him, and you see him just looking, he's looking straight at Richard, and Richard and you see a look on Richard like, oh, whoa, like this is not right. He doesn't look right. He looks defeated, and he looks like he's done. He looks like he is done. And also, Richard can see in his face, this is what he felt like when he was going down that self-destructive path. And now he doesn't know what to do. He can't walk off to go talk to him. He has to do what he has to do here. So I'm going to get to that ending scene, and I'll self-reflect it, maybe add a little bit more context to it. But that's what I felt about Jason. I think the actor's doing a really good job, but the writing is not there yet, and I think that they're trying to hold back on his character and have him go down that self-destructive path later on, which it could pay off. But I think that you should have given the audience and myself and even Batman fans, this is the start of him becoming the Red Hood. This is the start of his character going down that path of self-destruction that eventually has him confront the Joker, thinking that he could take down the Joker better than Batman, and he gets freaking mollywopped and killed over it. That's where I felt that they should have went with this in that scene. This scene should have been it. Now we don't. Now here's my thing. I don't know if they're gonna do the whole death of Jason Todd in season 3. I hope that they don't do it. I hope that they build this up more and more and have him go down a self-destructive path and have Richard try to go and help him and try to talk to him. And Jason says, go F yourself. Go away. I don't want to deal with you. They have one more confrontation. Richard pretty much puts him in the dirt again. And Richard realizes that, damn, that's not what he should have did. He should have not did that. But that's where that's where Jason really sets it now. He's done. He doesn't want. He was going if Richard. If he was able to get a hit off of Richard, it might have stopped the situation. But because Richard just put him in the dirt to say that you're just a boy and I'm a man, that just solidifies it for Jason. He's done. He's done. He thought maybe he can with Richard. Nope. He's done. So I hope that they kind of do that. I hope that they give some relevance. But again, my personal thing is I hope that they do it, but I want to see what they do. It might work. It might not work. That's the whole purpose of it. But I still think that this season is really, really good. Let's get down to Hawk and Dove. I said it the moment they did the episode of Hawk and Dove. They should give these two their own series. They should just give it their own series. Let them leave Titans. Season 3 should probably be their last season. I think that Alan Richardson and Minka Kelly should just walk off the series, limit this team down, because you only have 13 episodes. You have way too many people. While having just 5, which was Richard, Gar, Rachel, and Corey, You only had 4 people there. You only have 4 people. Now you have Connor, you have Ravager, which is Rose, and you have Donna on there, Jason, and Hawk and Dove, and also Jericho, aka Joseph Wilson. You have too many people. You have way too people for too little of of episodes. So I personally felt that they should limit the troop down, keep it at a good amount of people, so you can be able to tell your stories. That works a whole lot better than having to separate them and then keep splitting off into episodes where it's about them instead of it can become very messy. It can become very messy over time, and people are going to get bored with that. They want to see the team ups, and that's what this team is about. It's about this whole series is about the Titans themselves. And I'm not saying that write them out. What I'm saying is give them their own episodes. I mean, give them their own series. It will work. It will work. You have them rebuilding themselves up. You have Hank getting himself back off of drugs. You have Mika figuring out, can she be with Hank, or does she have to just be by herself? And that sexual tension because they've been together for a very long time. And they do love each other. They do care for each other. But the thing is that their relationship was built off of tragedy. Their relationship was built on the fact that both of them basically beat the living S out of and eventually most likely killed his childhood molester. So what was the true foundation of their relationship? That's from his perspective. And also that's even from mine. What was the true basis of their relationship? They're complete opposites, and I'm not saying that they can't be together. What I'm saying is they're complete opposites. He's more of a beer swiller. She's more of a wine and dine, and then turn herself into a beer swiller. But she's a lot more elegant and more eloquent and more dainty when it comes to being a woman. While he's rough and tumble, beat the crap out of the dudes, laugh, and he's the stereotypical guy, and it's perfect. And it can work with them being Hawk and Dove. But as Hank and Dawn, it can be very, very stressful because they really have a lot of problems. And I think that that's where in the show you build off of that. You build off of that foundation, and you get them to a point where they can become back in a relationship, or you can build the fact that they don't get in a relationship, and they just become really, really good friends that just really work well together, and they can have each other's backs. And I don't want romanticism in there. I just want a good superhero show that's a crime procedural that just has them beating the crap out of criminals and dealing with their own personal demons. And that's be perfectly fine for the 2 characters. But again, let's see what they do. But I think that it's time to get them out of this series because you got to limit this troop down. You can't have too many people, or it's going to end up just like Arrow. And Arrow has 22 to 24 episodes, and it gets muddled. It gets very muddled, and I don't want that for this show. I think that this show could do very well with 13 and keep it limited. Okay, but that's Hawk and Dove. Rose. We don't know very much about Rose. Her character is very good. I like the character. She's very sensible. She has an innocence about her, she has an innocence about her, and also she can have that variable weakness because she just wants to be accepted. She doesn't want to feel like a freak. And what her father did was, in all honesty, he exploited her. He massively exploited the fact that he had a daughter that has almost the same power set as him, and he was turning her into exactly what he is. And that's not Rose's character. That is not Rose the way she's supposed to be. She's just a 16, 17-year-old girl that just wants to be accepted, and her father treated her like basically a killing machine. He treated her as the military treated him. And that's not her. She's not military disciplined. And you could see it in her character that she hated the fact that her father was doing it, but she wanted his acceptance. She wanted his love because that's her dad. But he exploited her. He massively exploited her. We did not get the sense that he even cared about her. And that's troubling because as Hawk and myself have said in our previous video, Slay loves his kids. He loves Rose as much as he loves Grant. He loves and Joseph. So I don't understand why they wrote this version of Slade that didn't get almost, in all retrospect, almost did not give two S's about Rose at all. He didn't care about her feelings. He didn't care about anything. He manipulated her with the fact that his son was murdered, that he murdered his son, and used her as a plot point to actually use against the Titans. That's sickening. That is gross. In all honesty, that is gross. So I don't like how they did Slade in that regard. With Rose, and I think that they need to now take her character and figure out what to do with her and build her back up. And again, that's Rose. Now let's get to Donna. We got a little bit of her in season 1. She's a very good character. She talks like Diana Prince. She talks like she's from Themyscira, about wisdom and peace and prosperity. But as we built in season 2, her character went down a very dark path with the death of Garth, and when Garth died, it really killed something in her, because she really actually wanted to be with him and started a relationship, and eventually, who knows what's gonna build. So she was in a will they, won't they, and then on top of that, now it was completely gone. It's completely gone. So we got her in a very dark state. She wanted it. She was one of the people that coerced Dick into manipulating Joseph and find out where his dad is so they can kill him and get revenge. And when the whole thing self-destructed in their faces with the death of Joseph, aka Jericho, sorry, I know you guys want to call him Jericho, but his name is Joseph. His name is Joseph Wilson. With his death, she, in a way, the way they wrote it, they blamed Richard. And I felt that, wait a minute, this is something that they all agreed to do. Richard may have lied about his death, but they shouldn't put everything on him. They should have put it on themselves, because they all believed that they were doing the right thing, and they all wanted Slade to pay. However, here was the thing. Not all of it is Richard's fault, and the way they wrote it in the last couple episodes when he went to Kane County Prison, they wrote it as it's all his fault. I go, no, it's not. It's Donna and Hank and Dawn. They all agreed to do this. And then at the end of the Jericho episode, when we find out what happened, Richard told Jericho to go ahead and go see his dad. He had no qualms about it, because Dawn told Richard that he wants to go see his dad. Are we going to stand in the way for him to find out the truth about his father? Richard said, no, we're not going to do that. I don't like it, but let's go ahead and let it go ahead. He said, go ahead and go do it. So the whole episode, in my personal opinion, made absolutely no sense. And like, again, I will go into that in my whole season wrap up, but I'm going to sit back and watch the whole season again. And so I can have some better points, because I don't want to go into a weird point that makes no sense to the grander scope of the season itself. Okay, so that's Donna. I think that what they did with Donna was weird, but you could see that she was on a very dark path, and that at the very end of the season, she realized that she was wrong. She realized that she was wrong, and this was all wrong. And I hope that everybody understands that, and I hope that next season they do a much better job with how they're gonna do with the ramifications of what happened at the end of this season. All right, now the antagonist, Slade Wilson, S.I. Morales as Deathstroke. What do I think of him? I think that S.I. did a really good job. I think the writing supplemented out his acting ability, but I still didn't believe him as Slade. I'm sorry. I did not believe him as Slade. I think that S.I. Morales did a really good job with what he was written, but I think that they really kind of screwed his character a little bit on two fronts. One, his character, again, loves his kids. The moment he found out that Rose was alive, he should have embraced her. He should have embraced her, but not use her. He should have built his whole relationship on her that, hey, I do love you, but you also got to realize that I'm here for revenge. And I'm going to kill these kids. I'm going to kill these individuals that killed your brother, and tell the truth. Tell the truth. Tell the fact that they manipulated the whole situation, and I murdered Joseph. I murdered Jericho. And that would end it right there. That made Rose go, you murdered Joseph, you murdered Jojo? And yes, Rose called Joseph Jojo. And you murdered Jericho? And he goes, Yeah, I didn't want to, but he got in the way of me taking down the people that was screwing with my family. I didn't want them involved, but they got themselves involved. He got himself involved. And I beat myself up every single day doing it because I did it. And right there, you eliminate any type of levels of betrayal that Rose can ever have. Because her whole character in that whole season was conflicted with the fact that she starts to like the Titans, but but she's realizing her dad was wrong. And that's why I was like, wait a minute, that's not Slade. Slade will tell him the truth. He goes, nope, I killed Joseph. I killed him. I killed Jericho. I hate it. I want revenge against them. I want them to die. They made me kill my boy. I want to kill him. Are you with me on this? And then when this is over, however they want to do it, they can say when this is over, he gives it up. He gives up being Deathstroke. He doesn't be Deathstroke anymore. But this level of revenge determines and needs Deathstroke. You need to have Deathstroke. And I feel that they should have did that with this character and not created that instant rift. That is the cliche rift. He lied to Rose, which causes Rose to realize, wait a minute, they're not bad people. Well, you could have built throughout this whole season where she gets conflicted with the fact of that they feel bad at the fact that this is what happened with Jericho. They're bad. They feel extremely bad. They broke up their family because of this. And Rose starts to realize, wait a minute, you're all hurting. You're all hurting. Jericho's death screwed everything up. You didn't mean for this to happen. My dad didn't mean this to happen. So why the heck am I here? Why? I don't want. I want to hate you, and I want to hate my dad. And you could have easily put that all in. That would have made a lot more sense to her character because she's not getting manipulated. She doesn't feel like people are manipulating her. You make it feel like that. She understands exactly what the hell's going on, but she's keeping herself out of the situation mainly because she's not herself. She doesn't feel like Rose. She feels like she's on this hell-bent level of revenge to stop the Titans, and in turn to stop the Titans to stop her dad. And you're now having her go, I don't want nothing to do with this. And that's why you could have wrote it. You could have wrote just like that. But at the very end, when Deathstroke starts to tell her that, hey, I'm going to go after the Titans and I'm going to kill them, they brought themselves back together. I'm going to go kill them. She's like, but wait a minute. No. You don't know what the hell's going on here. They're not going after you. They don't care about you. Let's figure it out. He goes, nope, I don't care. They're going to die. You can easily say that. No, they're going to die. I'm taking them out. But when she realizes it's not the fact that they're coming together to go after Deathstroke, they're going to go save Gar, but her dad is so blinded over his anger, boom, that's what makes her go after her dad. And she stops him. And then and then in this episode, she quote unquote kills him. And I'm like, wait a minute, he gets a sword in the gut and he dies? If that was the case, what the hell? It shows that she has healing. He has healing. He has super healing. He can heal within like minutes. He's not like a Deadpool or a Wolverine or a Sabretooth, but he can heal. Are you telling me a sword in the gut, he dies? What happened? What the heck happened there? That is the worst thing they ever did to Deathstroke. They made him slip on a banana peel. And I know how people feel, especially this is the reason why I said at the beginning of this season, what they did to Trigon, where Raven starts using her powers and she instantly just goes and evaporates Trigon into nothingness and said, yeah, he's dead. I'm like, what? No, they're not going to have Raven just one-shot her father like that. There's no way. You're telling me she's more powerful than an interdimensional being? Her own father, she's stronger than him? What? And the same goes for Deathstroke. You just established that he and Rose have super healing. So why? So a sword in the gut is an indicator that he's dead. Oh my God, I don't know. I don't know. So I don't know. I want to know how people feel about that. I want to know how you guys feel about it. How do you feel about the fact that Titans did quote unquote killed Deathstroke? in this season. And it was a great fight between him and Richard, and it showed that his the reason why he actually could not pose a great fight is because the Robin costume he's always had, that Robin costume was too heavy. It was armor. So they basically retrofitted the Robin armor, made it lighter, still tough, but they made it lighter so he could still be able to flip and everything else and be able to still move the way he's supposed to move. So they gave him a much better piece of armor. So I don't know. I don't know. So I mean we have to see. Again, we have to see how everything unfolds in the third season. Um, how do I feel about Ian Glenn's Bruce Wayne slash Batman? Now he wasn't Batman in the whole season. He didn't don the suit. But how do I feel about him being Bruce Wayne? I'm meh. There are points in there I go, okay, that's Batman. Other points I go, that's not Batman. Batman doesn't act that way. Especially a lot of the stuff that was inside of Richard's head. I was like, that's not Batman. Bruce doesn't act that way. Bruce doesn't act goofy. Bruce does not act goofy at all. He's a person that keeps his posture. He keeps poise and he keeps himself stoic. He doesn't do goofy things, not unless he can't help it. And it kind of makes me go, I don't know what they're doing with that. But the way they're writing now, the physical version of Bruce, they write him that he's weathered, that him being Batman has way too much on him, and in certain ways he feels that it's almost too much. That's what I'm getting from his Bruce Wayne, that he feels very weathered. He feels weathered, and he feels like he's tired. And also with Richard gone, and then he failed with Jason. We have to see. We have to see. Now, there's a point in the episode that and I was watching earlier heels versus babyface, and the guy's a really good guy. Like I mentioned him a couple of times about him, and especially my Batwoman reviews. About what he believes and everything else. And he says he's a Batman fan, and I do agree with him. He does have some good knowledge about Batman. But I think that he misses the point about the relationship between Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson. It's not a father-son. Bruce does not see Richard as a son. He sees Richard as a little brother. He sees Richard as a little brother. That's all he does. And one of the core reasons why Richard left Bruce's charge in the comics was not because of he wanted to strike out on his own or anything. No, he wanted to get out of the shadow of Batman because Batman was treating him like a sidekick. He would never treat him as a partner or an equal. And that's why it started a rift between the two of them, because Bruce would not get out of the fact that one, Gotham can be protected by other costumed people. It's not just his charge. It's not just his city. And Richard was trying to do his best to get out of Batman's shadow and be his own character. But the thing is, they were not afraid of Richard Grayson. They were afraid of Batman. And Richard was trying to figure out, like, hey, wait a minute. He is just as good as Bruce. He could do the thing just as good as Bruce. But Bruce was always treating him like a sidekick. He was never treating him as a partner. That's what happened. I'm sorry, that's literally what happened. Now, they could have easily changed all that in Rebirth or New 52, but that's always been the reasoning. Other reasonings in other universes was the fact that Richard and Barbara could never get together, so and that was mainly because she was always had a hard-on for Bruce and Batman and the glamour life and everything else, and Richard thought, okay, well, if that's gonna be the case, I'm out, and he walked out on everybody. Because he thought that he thought that Bruce screwed Barbara. That's what he thought. Because Bruce was always very different around Barbara than he was around anybody else. So he thought that they had an affair, and he said, "Yo, what?" And he got out of there. Then he comes to find out that they didn't. They really didn't. They kind of hinted at it, but they never did. And then the Killing Joke kind of emphasized on a lot of people, like, wait a minute, really? Ugh. Like, what? No, Barbara and Bruce, in one universe, they did. They did. Bruce had sex with Barbara. It was a one-time thing. She caught him in a moment of weakness. And she was okay with it, but she knew that it was wrong. But she wanted Bruce. I don't know what happened after that, but they did. Other iterations, they were close, but they never did. They never pulled the trigger on it. So, I mean, but in Titans, they built it where Richard left, and I'm using Titans. Titans wrote that the reason why Richard left Bruce is because he killed Tony Zuko, and he blamed Bruce because he made him into a murderer. That was the main reason why Richard walked out on Bruce, and he created Titans. And he took all those problems, all those things with him, and used Donna and Hank and Dawn as a plot point to create Titans, but it was built off of the fact of him hating Bruce. And I understand how people felt like, oh, he goes, screw Batman, F Batman. But you got to realize his storyline was he hated Bruce because he believed Bruce turned him into a murderer. And Bruce never sat him down and told him, I know how you feel. He never told him after the fact of him killing Tony Zuko that, hey, I know how you feel. You had a moment of weakness. You had a moment that you finally just let yourself go. But was that the right thing to do? And Richard's going to say, no, it was not. He goes, now you know, now you've learned. You've learned that when I've learned. That he and Richard are in a position with their training, they can they can go after any villain they want and just get rid of them. Don't have to deal with them anymore. But that's not what it's about. They needed that type of talk. That was the talk I really wish they did in season 1. I kind of wish they did it in season 2 when he went to go talk to Bruce again. That he knew. Bruce knew that Richard killed Tony. He feels that he betrayed him. No, he felt that Bruce, especially with the way they wrote this version of Bruce, you can have Bruce feel that he messed up Richard. And he thought that he could fix it with Jason, but he couldn't. Bruce is too damaged himself. And that's the reason why I agree with what Richard says throughout most of the seasons. That if he didn't meet Bruce would never have made him into a murderer. But Bruce didn't turn him into a murderer. He made him be able to focus his anger, focus his rage, to be able to do better with it. Richard was the one that went out to go kill Tony Zuko. Richard is the one, when he found out that he was going to get attacked by the Maronis, he allowed him to die. So it's not Bruce's fault. It was Richard's fault. That's why I love the move. That's why I love the episode Asylum. Go back in season 1, watch the episode called Asylum. That is your whole understanding about why Richard hates Bruce. You blame Bruce. You blame Tony Zuko. But you're the one that did it. You're the one that perverted Robin. That was powerful. I said that on one of my videos. Go back. Go back in my season 1 wrap up of the episodes. I talked about it. I said that Richard was beating himself up, but using Bruce as a stand-in that for himself. He did all of this. He made the choices. They were the wrong choices. He thought that by being like Batman, it was going to be a much better situation. But no, Bruce has more worldly knowledge than Richard does. He understands that he cannot just go around and get rid of bad guys like that. It's going to make it worse. And it's going to eat away at his own soul. And it did. The death of Jericho ate at his soul. Hence why the Titans broke up and he left and go to Chicago. And why at the end of the episode, he was trying to run away. When he went to Deathstroke, and Deathstroke told him that your sentence is the fact that your friends and family are out there, and you can't come together, because if you do, I will kill you all. You were responsible for the death of my son. And Richard felt that. He understood it. Yeah, I'm partially I'm at fault. I'm at fault. I'm at fault. No, all of them were at fault. Slade, Richard, the Titans, all of them, and even Jericho. Jericho knew he shouldn't have jumped in the way. They were all at fault for all of this. And that's how I feel about it. I mean, what do you feel? How do you feel about it? Do you feel that Jericho was in the right to jump in the way of a battle between his father and Richard to try to stop his dad from killing? Do you think that Slade was at fault? That he should have been more understanding that his son was in the way, and he should never have been trying to strike down Richard. He should have been getting his son out of the situation, bowed his legs so he wouldn't be able to run away or anything like that. So he knew, okay, you're over there. I know exactly where you're at. Do you think it was the Titans' fault? Do you think it was everybody's fault? I think it was everybody's fault. I think it was the original Titans. I think it was Slade. I think it was Jericho. Jericho trying to be this hero, trying to stop his dad from killing, but it's like, no, you can't. He cannot stop his dad from doing anything. That's the way I saw it, and it's subjective. It's subjective. That's what I saw. Okay. So we get that, and then we get Cadmus using Gar, and they use Gar and Connor to propel themselves, to make themselves billions and billions, and the Titans show up to confront Connor, which in turn is one of the most weird type of sequences I've seen. You have Donna sitting there, in a way, trying to like throw a joke, and it felt a little weird about it. Like, they should have realized that, okay, they need to come at this kid. He has the power of Superman, and he doesn't have his consciousness. They can't hold back. They got to take him down. My question is, where the F was Kryptonite? Where the F was Kryptonite? Richard knows this. The moment he said he was a half Kryptonian, he's like, okay, go call Bruce. We need Kryptonite. Where the F is Kryptonite at? That's my question. If Cadmus Labs has Kryptonite, you're telling me Batman doesn't have effing Kryptonite? Where was the F Kryptonite at? That would have slowed that kid down right off the bat. I'd be like, he'd have dropped to his knees. Right off the bat. But they wanted to show them as a team. I mean, the end mark of it was really good. But I was just wondering, where was Kryptonite? Like, where the hell was it? But you have Raven using her powers with the lasso of persuasion. Everyone thinks, oh, her lasso. No, Donna's lasso is called the lasso of persuasion. It's a hair less powerful than the lasso of truth. Basically, she can persuade anybody to do whatever the hell she wants them to do, and also she can persuade them to tell the truth. The lasso, the hair of Hestia, which is supposed to be the golden lasso, or the lasso of Hestia, is supposed to be the hair of Hestia. That thing is supposed to be able to force people to tell the truth and realize the truth, see the truth for what it really is. Donna's lasso is a lot different. It's the lasso of persuasion. It's supposed to make people do what she wants them to do. Hence why it's called persuasion. So, my thing is, if you're using that lasso, why the heck didn't she try to talk to him? Like, Connor, see the truth. Who are you? Tell me who you are. Tell me who did this. Blah, 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 blah. Like, get him start talking. See the light. But no, they wanted Richard to go into his head and get Connor to see, to start believing in him. And you come to find out that he's blocked off. He can't see the sun. He's afraid of the darkness. And I liked it. I actually liked it because it does show that the fact that as every Kryptonian, if you take away the sun, they feel powerless. They feel powerless. They feel lesser than themselves. You take the sun away from Superman, he's going to feel a little weak. But the thing is that Superman's a lot different because Superman grew into his powers, and also Superman, in a lot of ways, he understands. Without his powers, he isn't Superman, but he could still do something. He can still do something. So Connor doesn't know that yet. Connor has not been preparing himself for that yet. So Richard knocks down the wall and shows Connor the light. And then they go out into this field, which kind of reminds you of Smallville. It's not a cornfield. It's just a field. And he's telling them that he's giving them a speech about the fact that that you still have a family. You still have this. You still have that. And we're always gonna be there for you. And I think that Richard finally realizes what it means to be in a family, because he was running away from every single one of them. He was running away from Batman. He was running away from Alfred. He was running away from the Titans. He was running away from Rachel. He was running away from Gar and Starfire. He was running away from everybody. And he started to realize, wait a minute, he needs to own up. He needs to man up and own up. And that's what started him back on his path to becoming Richard Grayson again. And by that talk, it actually helps Connor realize that he does have people he can rely on. And that's when he flies. It shows him fly, and one of the best demonstrations. And it shows right there that the producers of Titans, they took that from Man of Steel, with the whole line of you need to back up a little bit. He backed up and he put his hand to the ground and he lifted off. Every other version of Superman just flew. They just jumped and flew. They never did the hero landing, the hero stick to the flight. Never. I have rarely ever seen that. And that's because of Zack Snyder. So I applaud them for that. I applaud them for giving that little kudos to Man of Steel. Beautiful. Okay. Now, what I think. Now we get, sorry, not what I think, but later he breaks out of it. They stop Cadmus, and they capture Mercy. Everybody's saying, thank you, Titans. Everybody's congratulating. And then this electrical pylon falls. And one of the weirdest things I have ever seen happen that makes, it's heroic. And here's the thing. It's heroic, but it makes no sense to the situation that was at hand. Donna sees it fall, and she runs over, holds the pylon, and literally gets herself electrocuted and dies in one of the weirdest deaths I've seen yet on this show. Now, am I saying that it was wrong? What am I saying? Was it terrible? What? No. I'm not disrespecting Donna's death. I'm not disrespecting how they did it. What I'm disrespecting is that why'd you have Donna do it? You could have Connor do it, hold the pylon, and right when he was holding the pylon to put it down, they hear a shot, and they're going, "What the heck?" And then you see Richard looking around, and then he realizes what it is. He turns, and you see Donna just looking down, and there's a bullet right in her chest. And you see the look of horror on his face and her face, and you see her just like about to start crying, like she knows she's gonna die. And then you see from a distant point, it's Deathstroke with blood coming out of his mouth, and he says, "Gotcha." And he falls over and he goes unconscious. He doesn't have his mask on. It's Slade. And you're like, whoa. And Connor could have stopped the bullet. Connor could have stopped it. He was fast enough to do it. But he was just about to pull down the thing. All of a sudden, boom. And he was like, what the? And they were like, what? And then it was already too late. No one could have stopped it. Connor could have. But she dies. She dies of an electrocution. And and I agree. I agree with heels versus babyface. I agree with anybody else that disrespects what they did in that trailer. By them showing Donna's lasso in the trailer when they were pulling out the casket was the dumbest thing they ever did. They revealed who was going to die. They should never have done it. This is where you get people, you get the director, you get the showrunner and people that are a part of this series, and they look at that trailer and go, no, don't do that. You're revealing way too much. Let everyone think that it's something else. But everyone already knew Donna's dying. And there was no lead up that Donna was going to die. There was no lead up. I thought that it was gonna be Hank. I thought it was gonna be Hank. In my honest opinion, that he was gonna die, and they kind of write Mika Kelly's character off. I'd have been shocked. Or it could have been Jason. Jason goes through his death of the family arc right towards the end of it. But no, nope. But Donna dies. So we lost Donna. Now people are thinking like, okay, because Raven left with her to go to Themyscira, that she's gonna find a way to bring her back. Okay. Okay, let me get to the end of the episode. Okay. Raven leaves and she says that she has to find a way to bring her back. That that she that she doesn't blame herself. She doesn't blame herself. She just says that she has to find a way to do this, and Donna was her friend. She didn't deserve this and everything else. So Richard lets her go, and she goes to Themyscira, and they wrote Raven off. They wrote Raven off. Now I hope that they keep the actress away for a while. I hope they don't bring her back like in the next episode. I want them to keep her away for a while and have her start her training. Remember, she's supposed to go through 300 days of training. 300 days is like 6 months. So you can say, yeah, it's been 6 months. Here's back in the first. No. Let's get the Titans and then slowly catch her up through her training and then let her go through some more stuff. That would be really cool. And you're getting the actress a lot more time to work with the character. They tinker with her a little bit more and get her closer and closer to her comic book roots, like they did for Richard. Because Gar's already ready to go. He just needs a little bit more storyline and a lot more arcs. That's my only defense to that. Connor is already ready to go. He's good to go. He has a lot of depth already. Starfire has the Tamaranian storyline. Rose is starting to get into her own, and Hank and Dawn are already set. They're ready to go. You can write them off and have them have their own series right now. But a lot of characters are already ready to go. The only one that needs a little more development is Rose and Raven. In my personal opinion, Rose and Raven need a little bit more development. Jason is ready. In my personal opinion, he's ripe to become Red Hood right now. His mind is not in the right place. And I think that's one of the best things they could do. Okay. So when they're at the dinner table, they're having dinner, and Bruce is there, and Starfire asks him about that. Hey, thank you for helping us at Elko, Nevada, and we couldn't do it without you. And he looks at her and goes, I don't know what you're talking about. I have never been to Elko, Nevada ever. He was gone. She's like, what? But he kind of looks at her. Now, Batman doesn't lie. If he says he was there, he was there. He was there. If he tells you, I don't know what the heck you're talking about, he's not snide. He doesn't do snide comments. He doesn't do coy. Batman is not a very coy person. He could do some coy, but not something like that. If he was going to help that team, he would help them. So they assume that it was actually Raven using her powers on all of them subconsciously to imagine Bruce there to get them to come together and go help Richard. And I think it was the same thing too, which was actually very interesting. It shows how powerful she is. If she can get into Starfire's head, Donna and Dawn, and make an image of Bruce Wayne, and show Bruce Wayne in a certain mannerism, then holy crap, that shows how powerful she is. Because I know everyone's events. If Raven did it, how the hell would she know how Bruce Wayne acts? She was using her telepathy on everybody, subconsciously. So she instantly linked everyone's head subconsciously and used her powers to imagine Bruce the way Donna or Dawn would envision him, and made everyone see him that way. It's not impossible, and it's not out of the whim, because she has used her telepathy before. She's used it very subtly on everybody before. Hence why she can't learn martial arts to train telepathy. You have to learn magic. Magic. But okay, so again, I don't want to go on tirade. That's what I think. That's what I believe. What do you guys think? All right. Okay. So I mean, this is running for almost an hour. I'm okay with that because there's a lot to be told. This is it's still a good season finale. There are a little bit of problems only because I think they dropped the ball on Deathstroke and I think they dropped the ball on Donna. Donna's death was weird. It should never have done that way. It should have been Deathstroke killing Donna. Or here's what they could have done: a parallel. You have Deathstroke with the sniper rifle about to shoot Richard right in the chest. You hear the gunshot. Connor hears the gunshot, but he doesn't know where it's coming from. And then she runs over and puts herself right in the view and just gets shot right in the chest to save Richard. And it should have Richard just look at this like, the look on his face should be the same look when his parents died. That look of horror. And that's the way I think it should have done it. Deathstroke should have tried to kill Richard, but Donna got in the way. But Deathstroke's alive. He gets away. And she dies in his arms. Because remember, the way they establish it in this series, Donna and Richard are the ones that created Titans. They brought in Garth. They brought in Hank and Dawn. It was Donna and Richard. They were the first two Titans. Because they were the two sidekicks to Batman and Wonder Woman. Garth was brought in a little bit later. Because he was still in the middle of his training with Aquaman at the time. So he couldn't do it. And there's no such thing as a speedster right now. Because they would densely be talking about the Flash. But we have no understanding if they are going to bring in a speedster. And I think they shouldn't. I think they should just know, because then the people are going to talk about they're treading all over CW Flash, and who knows how they're going to write this version of Wally or Wally or Bart. And I think they shouldn't. And there's a reasoning why. Okay, so we get to Donna's death. They're all paying their respects. The women of Themyscira show up, which is weird because why in the heck didn't they show a woman in all black with a gown with a piece of lace over her face, and you see her with the freaking lasso on her side, and you see the gauntlet and the headband. It's Wonder Woman. It's Diana. You should have had her there. You don't have to show her face. Just have her there. She's bringing her sidekick home. That would have brought tears to people's eyes because you're seeing Wonder Woman bringing home her original sidekick. Oh my God. I mean, it'd have been cool. You didn't have to cast an actress. You didn't have no speaking role. Just a woman standing there, and she's wearing traditional garbs, but her face is covered. You have the lasso on her side, the sword. But she's wearing all black because it's more of a tradition from from man's world. And they're all wearing black. That's fine. But you see the golden lasso on her side. You see the sword on her side. And you see the belt, the WW belt, the Wonder Woman belt. But you see a lace over her face, and she's wearing a gown. Black gowns. It's Wonder Woman. Bringing her sidekick home. And you see Richard just looking, and he nods his head, and you see her nod her head too, in respect. She knows that that's Richard Grayson. And you see her kind of turn and walk away. You see the rest of them just sitting there, just like they just saw Wonder Woman. That'd have been great. Great way of saying you've got a Wonder Woman around. And then, Rachel leaves and they get to the dinner and he makes the speech about family and everything. And then they get the message. And then the way Richard said the speech, in my honest opinion, this is what they could have did. The speech was good. The way they could have inflicted the position that Richard is in right now is He's saying it to make everyone feel better, but it's honestly a speech to Bruce because he's saying this to Bruce as an apology. It is a complete apology about everything that Bruce has ever taught him, everything he's ever been through. He was an idiot. He was being arrogant and he was being stupid. That all the teachings that he's ever learned was to prepare him for what the real world is going to be. And he failed at that. And he won't fail again. And you see Bruce on the other side just nodding, going, like, he knows, he understands. It's life. It's life choices. Richard made the worst choices because he was trying to be someone he is not. He is not Bruce Wayne. He is not Batman. He is Richard Grayson. He is Robin / Nightwing. He's Nightwing now. He cannot be Batman. He cannot be Batman. And that's where I felt that they should have did the whole speech. Because it actually helps their talk earlier, because their talk about it was it was a lot about family and what it means to be in a family. And Bruce is telling him like he's never had a true family before until he met Richard. And Richard says the same thing. He's never had a true family either. He thought when his parents died and Bruce brought him in, he thought, okay, well, cool. I got a kind of like a rich uncle. But he did not truly believe that he did not understand that Bruce needed Richard at that point in his life. Bruce was so angry at the world, he wanted to beat the crap out of criminals all night. And now he's a weathered man, and now he's looking at his life and going, he made a lot of mistakes. And the same goes for Richard. They made mistakes, and now they have to own up to their mistakes. Bruce has owned up to his mistakes a lot more than Richard has, but Bruce has moved on. He's moved on, and he's still that cold person, but he understands that you can't be ruled by your mistakes. You gotta change what you do and move the hell on. Richard was being ruled by his mistakes. Ever since the first episode of Titans, he was ruled by those mistakes. And we understand what those mistakes were. And that's what that speech that talk to them is about, which actually helps Richard make the speech to Bruce to actually, in a way, apologize to Bruce. It's a massive apology. He will not make those mistakes ever again. He will grow, and he'll become a better hero than he's ever been. And this is for Donna. And that'd have been great. It'd have been great. I'm sorry. I mean, it would have probably been a lot better than what he said, but it was still a really good speech. It could have been just a little bit better in my personal opinion. Like, it's an apology to Bruce, but it's giving them the understanding that we all make mistakes, but it's time for us to look at those mistakes and change and evolve and move forward. And that's the way they should, and that makes them all realize that they're right. They made mistakes. They all make mistakes. It's time to move on from them. Don't be ruled by it. And it's to all of them. All of them. And I do think at the very end they made a really good decision, and they're going to move forward with the Tamaranians. They're going to have Blackfire on Earth. I don't know what they're going to do with it. I don't know what they're going to do with it. Season 3 might get darker. Because they get a message that somebody is taking there's some attacks, and basically they team up as a team. And you have Crypto and Gar in their Crypto's a dog, and you have Gar turn himself into a tiger form, and they all just go out to go try to save the world. And I'm perfectly okay with that ending. I was like, okay. But I think that season 3, they need to really, really start to focus on what they need to do. That's my personal opinion. Now, what do I think for the future? What do I think they're going to be doing in the future? Here's my thing. I think that Rachel is going to, quote unquote, bring Donna back, but it's not going to be Rachel. Something else brought her back. And they screwed with her. I hope we get the Troya storyline. And if you guys understand what I mean by Troya, what I mean is this is the evil side to Donna. The evil side to her. The more impulsive, just evil side to her, and it should be all about Trigon. That Trigon is not dead. He's still alive, and he's now using Donna as a way to get his to make himself be able to come back. And they all think that Rachel did it, and she did it subconsciously to bring back Donna, but she screwed up, and this whole thing's about Rachel again. But Rachel's starting to realize, wait a minute, I didn't do this. She didn't do it. So who else has the power to do it? You introduce a little bit more magic. You have the Tamaranians, the whole Tamaranian invasion happening, or not even an invasion. It's more as Blackfire is going to try to kill Starfire. But it's all about Troya. Troya is going to be their biggest adversary, and on top of it, it reveals a lot more about Donna. In my personal opinion, how they need to do Donna is you have Diana. She's the son of I'm sorry, wow. Sorry about that. She's the daughter of Hippolyta and Zeus. Okay, that's fine. But Donna, make her the one made out of clay. She's the one made out of clay given life by Hippolyta. To give Wonder Woman a semblance of a little sister. She crafted Donna to be almost a young version of Diana. Hence why, again, she's stronger than most other Amazonians. She's faster, more durable. There's a reasoning why. Most Amazonians will not be able to take a punch from freaking a Kryptonian. I'm sorry, there's none that could be able to take a punch from a Kryptonian or get thrown around like nobody's business and survive. So there's a reason why Donna is the way she is. She should be the one made out of clay, given life by Hippolyta and Hera, or given life to whoever did it. It could be Ares. Who cares? But she should be the one that gets life. But she's the clay child that we all thought in Legends. And there's a reasoning why to that. There's a reasoning. That's why she's more durable, much stronger, this, and this. And the training just helped. It helped her focus her strength and make her stronger. But you should do the whole Troya storyline. And she could be able to take down Connor. Because she's way more powerful. She's way more deadly. She's not holding back. She could be able to take down Connor. And it scares the crap out of everybody. Because he's a powerhouse. And she basically could take him down. And Starfire can't take her. Because she could take down freaking Connor. What the? And right now you have Starfire in the middle of her. I can't make everything go. She can't light everything on fire. So she has her strengths and everything are gone. She'll get murked by Troya. You have the whole season's about Troya, the return of Donna, but it's Troya. And at the very end, they save her soul. And but they find out who the hell did it. And it's Trigon. They're like, how the hell did you do that? And you find out a little bit more about it. That he's not dead. So that'd be really cool. In my perspective, that would be really cool. But let's see how they do this next season. I will do the season wrap up pretty soon. I will do it by the 3rd, maybe the 4th, and it will be probably about as long as this one. But I definitely have to see the whole season again, and I got to see how this whole next week, this upcoming week transpires. It's right after Black Friday. I had a pretty hectic couple of days. I'm still tired, but I'll try to get as many videos out as I can. But this season finale, I liked it. I just feel that it could be better, but with some tinkering, but it is still a good, solid season finale. It just dropped because they killed Donna, and it made no sense. You got nothing from it. You got nothing of the fact that she was going to be the one that was going to die, except it was spoiled. And the fact that they made Deathstroke, they actually murked Deathstroke. They basically made him slip on a banana peel on Deathstroke, and had Rose the one that did it. And then which causes Jericho to jump out of his body and into hers. So we don't know what the heck is going to happen with that. We have to see how that transpires. However, as I said, for what they were trying to do, they finally got Richard where he needs to be. So they don't need to really focus a lot on Richard anymore. They got to focus on the other characters. I think they got to focus on Gar. They got to focus on Connor, and they got to focus in on Starfire. Jason needs to do his arc to become the Red Hood and make it as a massive failure on Batman and Richard, and his death marks a lot of what's going to happen in the next season. Hawk and Dove need to go through their little crucibles. Rose needs to find her way, start rebuilding her character a little bit more, and get her to where she can actually be able to stand on her own. And write Raven in just slowly, bit by bit, but show us that she's progressing, because right now her character is not progressing. Her character is degressing, is de-evolving. Her character is not is bringing more problems than they need to be in, and we need to get her solid to the point where her character can be able to do something and not be a hindrance. And right now her character is kind of a hindrance. Okay, I'm sorry. She is. She displays powers out of nowhere, but then she's so scared of her powers. Well, what? I mean, there has to be a level of confidence that she can be able to pull it off, and that's why Anna Diop is doing a very good job with Starfire, because she said in a previous episode she was always confident. She always knew what she was about. It doesn't matter if she lost her memory. She always knew there was just something more to herself, and it gave her the confidence to be able to know how to use her powers. So that's where I want Raven to be at. Like, she's confident. She goes, nope, I can do it, and she does it. Or, nope, I can't do it, and she doesn't do it. That's what I want. I don't want her to be shaky on doing things or not doing things. It doesn't show confidence in herself. It doesn't show confidence in the character, and it doesn't show me confidence she's able to pull anything off. And then future episodes, she's able to do it like it's nobody's business. I'm like, what the heck? It shows a lopsidedness. That's me. Again, that's me. Again, how do you feel about this episode? Do you feel this episode was great? How do you feel about this season in general? I will bring this up when I do my season wrap up, and I will let you guys know how I feel. But I can tell you right now, give you guys a little hint. I actually still think I really, really like this season. I'm not loving it, but I do like it a lot. I think that it's going from I like it. I like the first season. I really like this season. I hope I get to I love the third season. It's progressing, and that's mainly due to the fact is there's certain levels of writing that does not work. And now they're bringing in more characters, and I'm like, people got to realize you cannot bring too many characters in here, or it's going to bloat out the storylines. And on top of that, you only have 13 episodes. So let's tone down a little bit. I think that some characters need to go. I think by bringing in Jason Todd and writing them out was a great thing. Raven, writing her out for a little bit is a great thing. I think that I think killing Donna was a good thing too, in a way that makes it her storyline hopefully come back and she's a little bit better. And I think season 3 should mark Hawk and Dove getting out of this series and getting their own. I think that they should get their own. I think both actors can hold a series themselves, and you can have Titans, certain Titans go over to their show and be able to help them out and once in a while and everything, and build a good strong universe. Right now, we don't know if they're going to build a streaming service universe. We don't know if they're going to be doing anything like that, but let's see how they build it. And let's see how it goes. So like, comment, share, subscribe down below, hit that bell. I will do more videos. It's just gonna be pretty slow. Okay. I didn't have any pre-made videos, mainly because I've been very, very busy. I got to get some sleep, and my day job is pretty demanding, but it's worth every penny. So you guys have a great one. And Titans season 2, episode 13 is, to me, out of 5 stars. It is a good solid 3.5. There's a few things I didn't like, and like I said above, it's Deathstroke. I didn't like how they banana peeled Deathstroke. I didn't like how they just did Donna's death. I think that they did Jason Todd pretty weird, but that's the way they want him. Let's see how they go with it. Connor, solid. Gar, solid. Raven needs work. Hawk and Dove are solid. Brandon Thewis as Dick Grayson, I would love to meet this guy, shake his hand, tell him, like, dude, you brought Dick Grayson to life. You made him great. I love how they're doing his character. There are certain little avenues I felt that they could have changed, but they actually did give a little bit more context, a lot better to his character. And Anna Diop has changed my mind to how they could do Starfire. She's doing Starfire very well. I'm very happy with it, and I hope you guys are going to get happy with it. Let's kind of get away from the color scheme. Let's just see how they write her. My question is how they're going to write her. Okay, that's all I care about. I will get past the color. I will get past the race. but let's get down to how they're going to write them. If they write them lopsided, that makes absolutely no sense to the core of the character. No, thank you. Let's move on. Let's do something different. But S.R. Morales playing as Slade, in some ways, I'll say right now, if you're going at 100%, they did a 70-30. 70% they wrote him exactly like Slade. 30% they wrote him nowhere near like Slade. Slade is not a person that's going to willingly try to kill people while his children are around. He will he will tactically make sure that his children are out of the way. They will not get in the way of him doing what he has to do, and he will never lie. He will never lie to his kids. He will manipulate certain events, but he will always tell his kids the truth because he doesn't care. He will tell them like, "Hey, listen, this is what I did. The world doesn't act this way. The world acts this way. Either you grow up or you don't. And if you don't grow up, you're gonna get eaten. You grow up, you eat them." And that's how Slade sees it. He takes the world by the bullhorns and he rides it. And that's why Slade is one of the best villains against Titans, because he tells them as it is. He tells them exactly how it is, and he gets the job done. This version of Slade is very weird. He lied to his daughter, which makes absolutely no sense to Slade. Slade will never lie to his kids. He never will lie to his kids. Those are his kids. If they find out that he lied, then that means that he's not a good father. He does everything he can to make sure that they live a good, comfortable life, or they don't know what he's really doing, and he says that's just a father protecting his kids. And it's true. But for Slade to lie to Rose, no, he will tell him the truth. No, I killed I killed Joseph. I killed Jericho. But I didn't mean to do it. That was not something I planned on doing. And that's the reason why I'm doing this, because they need to suffer. They need to suffer as I suffered. And Rose would understand that. Be like, okay, they're bad people. They're bad people. But you start to have her where she gets conflicted. Like, wait a minute, they're not bad people, and I blame all of you. Like, she's pretty much like myself. Like, hey, wait a minute, I don't blame you I don't believe one or the other. I blame all of you. You all got Joseph killed. You all got JoJo killed, or Jericho. So, like I said, there's a lot of things that I felt that they could have done. I think they're doing a really good job with Gar. They're trying to give him a little more of an edge and not make him more cartoony. Give him more heart. Give him more reality. And the fact that he can morph himself into a tiger. Okay, he's not going to lick your face. He's going to rip your throat out. Okay, I'm sorry. He's a tiger. So, I mean, they made it weird in the first season. But this season, I'm very happy with this. I want to see a little bit more. I hope that he transforms into other animals, that they can at least experiment to see if he can morph into, I don't know, a lion or an elephant. I mean, just morph himself into other things that will make sense to his character, and I'll be very, very happy with it. So I'm hoping that they could do some stuff and advance his character instead of having him in tiger form all the time. Tiger form is cool, but it's time to let's see what you guys can do. Let's do some experimentations, and let's see what can fit, and also fit into their CGI budget. Let's see what they can do with it. But that's my thoughts. I still like this season. I think it's better than the first one. They do have some problems, but I think that they kind of rush job this season finale. I don't know, but we have to see what happens in the next season. And I hope you guys have a great one. And again, you guys have a happy holidays, happy belated Thanksgiving, and also Christmas is coming up. So let's hope that works out for you guys too. Okay, happy holidays. You guys have a good one. Bye.